Hi, class. This week we're going to continue with Chapter 6. Last week, hopefully, you focused in on unemployment. That was, of course, part of our discussion. And this week we're going to focus in on inflation. So I hope you learned a little bit about unemployment and some of the nuance. Really good discussion taking place, and sounds like the Fred tool went pretty well. You can continue to play around with that if you're interested to look at other data. And this week we should be getting an unemployment report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So I'll try and highlight that and see what the data says. This week we're going to look at inflation. And in front of you are the U.S. annual inflation rates over the last decade. And you can see it's generally hovered at about 1.5% to 2%. And the Federal Reserve Bank, we'll talk about them later in the semester, targets an inflation rate of about that 1% to 2%. It's the expected inflation rate, and we build our economy around that. What we want to focus on in this unit is to look at how we measure inflation through the Consumer Price Index. And we want to look at how inflation or deflation impacts consumers, savers, lenders, and borrowers. So we got a lot to learn in this unit. I think it's a little more challenging than the unemployment unit. So let's take a quick look at what you've got this week. This week there is a new discussion, and it's really less of a discussion this week, very similar to last week. It's more a hands-on project that we're going to continue through the course of the semester. You're going to develop your own market basket. And the Consumer Price Index, also calculated by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is based on a typical basket of goods that a typical consumer buys. And so you're going to create your own basket. I've asked you to create a COVID-19 price index, and your job is to find 10 different products from a single store. You're going to be specific about the brand and quantity. For example, 15 ounces of Kellogg's Corn Flakes is my example here, or a dozen organic eggs. And you want it to be specific because we're going to track these prices a few times throughout the semester to see what's happening. And I suggest choosing, what you choose is up to you, but you could relate it to COVID or not. Any 10 goods are great. You can go directly to the store and gather the prices, maybe make your shopping trip a little more fun, or you can gather the prices online. Be creative, have fun with it, but your basket should be unique. So it's pretty easy to tell when two people are using the same basket. I want you to do your own data collection and your own calculations. So you're going to find those prices, and you're going to build a little spreadsheet with them, and then you're going to calculate the cost of the market basket. To do that, you're going to have to estimate the estimated quantity that someone would consume during, say, the course of a week, or you can say during the course of the month. It doesn't really matter. So, a gallon of milk, if that's in your category, in my house, we go through about one of those per week. So make sure that your quantities are consistent. So if you're using how much people consume per week or how much people consume per month, that's going to be important to stay consistent. So our first job here is just to create our market basket, find the goods, estimate the quantity consumed, and then gather the prices for a specific date this week. Can be any day between now and Thursday. And what you're going to do is you're going to post a screenshot of your data and maybe explain what you've got. You don't need to reply to anyone else. It's kind of a laboratory, I guess you'd say. The goal here is to really teach you how the Consumer Price Index is calculated. Typically, the Bureau of Labor Statistics uses hundreds, even thousands of goods. We're just going to use 10, but it'll still explain to us how the Consumer Price Index is calculated. So if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to help as the week goes ahead. Now, don't forget, folks, you should have completed your pre-class questions. Those are still open, so you can complete those. Your quiz and your 2 Aplia sets are due this coming Sunday. And let me point out an important resource for you. Because the inflation calculations are a little trickier, I'm going to send you over to our chapter on inflation, and you'll find hopefully some useful videos. One that may be very useful is under Calculate the Inflation Rate. There's a video here about calculating the cost of a market basket, which is what you are going to be doing this week in the discussion. Now, there are other steps that we're going to look at that'll come later, but I think you'll find some of these little sections, such as calculating real income, to be helpful. There are a number of videos as well that I think will be helpful. There's also a link here to the summary of formulas. And I've tried to capture every single formula that you need to know. So that's our unit this week. Let me know if you have any questions about calculating the market basket and posting that. I think it will make more sense, especially when we collect more data later this semester and begin to estimate or calculate what is happening to the inflation rate of your particular market basket of goods. You will be experts at the end of this. So I hope everyone has a great week. Next week, we're going to be looking at Chapter 7. And then the following week, you'll have your first exam. And the exam is going to be a do-at-home exam, if you will. I'll have more directions and information about that next week, so you can be prepared for it. That's all for now. I will see everyone online.